If I asked you what deal you're working on, and 5 minutes later, you're still talking about it on and on and on, you don't have a deal. You have confusion. This isn't about being slick, guys. It's about understanding your numbers. It is basic math. Deals tend to fall apart in people's heads before they ever fall apart on paper. Here's the test. You should be able to say immediately, this is a 24 unit building in Lakeland. I bought it X price. The rents are X and they are this much below market. Expenses are like this because of whatever reasons. Maybe it's management, maybe it's utilities, maybe it's a CapEx issue that they had that they didn't pull off the T12. And we're fixing that in 18 months by doing this. Cash flows modestly for now. Upside comes when we bump the rents and why we're able to do so, and expenses are under control. We're going to exit it 5 years at a conservative cap rate. That's it. No spreadsheets, no jargon, no rambling. People might want to go deeper, and you're more than welcome to go deeper, but you don't even have to open up an Excel spreadsheet to do this yet. And how do you know that this is possible? Because you have done XYZ in this particular market with a similar product. And if you need to have the Excel spreadsheet open in front of you to explain your deal, you are not ready. Okay. I've done it before. I've been there where I get on an investor call or I'm getting on a call with a partner to show them a deal. And I have the spreadsheet open and we're on a Zoom call and you get lost because when you're staring at a spreadsheet and there's numbers all over the place, there's calculations all over the place. It's like, what are you doing? What is the actual plan? All I need to know right now, if I'm going to partner with somebody or when I'm presenting a deal to somebody, I need to know a few things. What is the market like? What type of market is it? Meaning, is it a market where people are moving to or leaving? Is it a growing market? Does it have economic diversity? What is your particular background in that market? Do you own other units? Have you operated similar things before? Similar vintage, similar products, similar neighborhoods before? What are the current rents? Are they below market? And if they are below market, how do you know? Do you have proof that they are below market? And how are you going to get them to market? What is the expense ratio that you're projecting? If you're projecting a 35% expense ratio, I'm out, especially in today's environment. How are you going to finance it? How long are you going to hold it for? What are the expenses and are they going to be reduced? Likely not. Okay. So in reality, in today's day and age, expenses are high and that's just the way it is. So you don't even have to open up a spreadsheet to do all this. This is just basic stuff. And people get stuck behind that spreadsheet, behind the complexity. You don't know how to calculate an IRR. That's why there's an IRR function inside Excel spreadsheets. Don't get stuck saying, I'm still modeling this out because you're never going to have your underwriting perfect because it's a pro forma. What I would rather hear, aside from your pro forma, if you're pitching a deal to me as a general partner and I'm going to invest as a limited partner, or if you're pitching a deal to me because you want me in as a co-sponsor, or you just want to get my take on a deal, what I would recommend is telling me what the actuals are. Here's a quick example. If you're buying a 10-unit apartment building, rents are $1,000 per unit, and you know that rents could be $1,200, but you're just telling me today that you're purchasing at a 50% expense ratio based on today's actuals, and you're buying at a 7 cap. That's awesome, right? So when we start our conversation, all you have to say is, okay, rents are $1,000 a unit. There are 10 units, 12 months. It's $120,000 a year in gross income. All right, I am projecting a 50% expense ratio. So that's $60,000 NOI. You divide that $60,000 by, let's say, a 7% cap rate, which is conservative. Okay, so 60 divided by 0.07, we get $857,000 purchase price. Now, if you're telling me that you're buying this for 1 million or 1.2 million, I might be skeptical. But you tell me you have it under contract for 850,000 or 900,000, we are now playing ball. I love that. You don't even have to open up the spreadsheet because it's a pro forma, like I said. Remember, a pro forma is a projection, guys. It's kind of guessing what's going to happen in the future. Yes, it's all educated. Yes, it's based on a lot of metrics that we have learned and a lot of strategies that we have learned over the years as multifamily investors, but it is still a projection into the future and there are unknowns that are going to happen. So I like to look at a bunch of things. And I was actually on a call today with an epic person who was explaining to me the fundamentals of a property and why he liked it. I think it's great. This guy is asking all the right questions, making the best assumptions possible, and truly getting to understand what a deal is like and what makes a good deal. So he told me some awesome fundamentals about the vintage, the location, the group that's acquiring the property, why they're selling. All this stuff is excellent information. And that's how you should be looking at deals too. And that's how you should be pitching deals to potential partners or potential LPs. So if I talk to you about a deal and you're like, well, I'm still kind of modeling it out in the underwriting, and there's a few different scenarios. We can have scenario one, scenario two, scenario three, where we sell high, or where X, Y, and Z would happen, or let's say we run into this. Stop it. You don't trust your own underwriting. Momentum just died. You just killed it. You crushed your own deal. You can't believe in those numbers if you're modeling out three different scenarios. Yeah, I get it. I understand that some investors want to see the upside and the downside and have you stress test it and all that crap. Yeah, I get it. Tell me the fundamentals. Why do you like the market? Why do you like the area? What's your experience in that area, in that particular location? How you're going to turn it around? Or if you're buying it as is and what today's rents are, we're not going to project any future increase in rents. Tell me the expense ratio is about 50% and you're buying it at 6, 7 cap rate. That's insane. I love that. Easy. It doesn't make a good deal, but now we're at least talking, we're having a conversation. So when talking to brokers, partners, investors, they can smell it on you instantly if you're legit or if you're talking, you know what I mean? So partners know if you've done your work. Investors know if you're confident or if you're just guessing or projecting things out. You don't want to hide things in spreadsheets. You don't want to bust out this crazy, complicated spreadsheet for somebody that you're trying to just pitch a general idea to first. As a matter of fact, I have sold a few of my deals to people who haven't even done the underwriting because they trust me and what I've done in the past and my track record. Although, yes, I'm not perfect and I make a ton of mistakes. So back up if you think I'm perfect because I'm not. So confidence, guys, it doesn't come from like hyping it up and it doesn't come from hiding behind a spreadsheet. Confidence comes from you being clear on what you're getting, what the value is and what the idea is and what the general business plan is, because things change and we all know that as investors. So when you're clear on what you want, let's say as a buyer, brokers are going to call you back. When you're clear on what you're pitching, investors will invest with you. When you're clear on what you're pitching to a partner, partners will partner with you. Investors will stop asking the basic questions if you've laid down the good fundamentals, okay? And unfortunately, not all of us are working with this extensive background and all this credibility because we've done thousands of units and we've gone full cycle on hundreds of units. It's just not possible for a lot of us and it just hasn't happened. And that's okay too. But ultimately, you have to be clear for yourself on what you're selling to people, on what you're providing to people. So the goal isn't perfection when you're sharing deals, when you're sharing the opportunity for people to partner with you. The goal isn't perfection when you're trying to get brokers' attention, to get offers in. The goal is simple. I understand this deal well enough to take the next step because taking action creates clarity. It forces it sometimes. Clarity creates confidence, and confidence creates momentum. So I would rather be involved in a deal by myself that loses than no deal at all. I know I've said it in the past before, no deal is better than a bad deal, but sometimes if the losses are slim, sometimes taking action, taking a little loss will create momentum for you to build a more successful future. And sometimes that's more important. Anytime you get into the ring, you're going to get hit. Okay. You're going to get punched in the face. That doesn't mean you're going to lose the fight. And that's important to know. So I want to say this one more time. If you are pitching a deal, if you're sharing an opportunity with a potential partner, group, or group of people, with potential investors, or if you're trying to get brokers' attention, you need to be clear. And you don't want to hide behind a spreadsheet. You don't want to jump on a call with somebody, say, hey, I have this great opportunity. Look at this spreadsheet. They're going to be like a deer in the headlights. They first have to see you and what your thought process is. And you have to be very clear on what your thought process is. That does not mean that you are predicting the future perfectly when you're explaining a deal to somebody without having a spreadsheet. What that does mean is this: fundamentals are X, Y, Z. Here's why I love the property. Here's why I love the location. Here's what I've done in the past. And here, based on today's actuals, is why we're getting good value on this particular property. That's it. If they like it, they will request the financials. They will request the pro forma from you. And that's when you give it to them. And that's when you guys start talking in a deeper conversation. So if you're listening to this and you can't explain your deal in 60 seconds, it's not failure. It's just a signal to slow down, to simplify everything for yourself and for the people that you're pitching it to. That's how real investors are built. You still have to put in all the work to underwrite 100 deals before you get one. Okay. And the more reps you get in and the more swings you take, the better you will be at pitching a deal to yourself and to potential partners, investors, or even getting the attention from brokers that you really need. And that's how investors are built. We are built through repetitions, through simplifying things in our heads and clarifying it. And then when it's time to go very deep and granular, we go there. So if this is you and you're out there today and you're stuck in the spreadsheet and you're stuck in the idea of, well, in year 3, what if we have 7% vacancy instead of 3% vacancy? Or what if expenses go to 3.5% by year 5 and they're not 3%, and then there's only a 2% rent increase? Stop. Look at the fundamentals, get clear on how multifamily works. Then you build out that pro forma. Then you build out those assumptions. Then you get super granular. And just take a step back, guys. So you don't need to get crazy. So today, when I'm looking at deals, like I just took a quick peek at a 12 unit, I did some quick math and I said, this works at this price point. I'm going to offer on this price point. And I didn't even fully underwrite it. And that's okay because I know what I'm doing in this particular area. And I'm willing to take a little bit of a risk in this particular area for this particular type of asset. Now, this only comes from having experience for 6 years in this particular market, having managed 5 properties at this point, having gone full cycle on 194 units, underwriting thousands of deals, having thousands of conversations with investors and brokers, et cetera. So this is just reps, guys. Just get it in. Stop complaining. You got to be a freshman at some point in your life, again, if you're jumping into something new and serious like the multifamily game. So stop it. Let's get out there. Let's simplify everything and then get super granular later on. I love you guys. All right, and that's a wrap, Small Axe community. So I wanted to take a minute to say thank you so much for listening to the show. And if you liked it or got any value from it, it would really mean the world to me if you would share it with someone else and write a review. Remember, guys, keep sharpening those axes. Let's get out there. Let's crush it. Love you guys.